This podcast is part of Mishmash Media. Hey, buddy.
Hey, how's it going?
Very good. Welcome to another episode of Curbcast. My name's Ivan.
And I'm Stephen.
And each week we get an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm and we review it scene by scene. And we are up to episode 4 of season 6, The Lefty Call. An episode which I feel is probably so far for me, Steve, probably the weakest in season 6 so far. I don't know. I really enjoyed the first 3 episodes, but this one, it had some hits as well. But I don't know. Just didn't really feel like, to me, a solid episode. What about you?
Yeah, I'm about the same. I thought there were funny parts in this episode,
yes,
but it didn't have a lot of cohesion for me. It felt just a bit chaotic. Sometimes Curb has an episode with a lot of moving parts, but it's all tied together very well, and it all kind of fits. Whereas this, it just jumped from one thing to the other, and it was just a bit haphazard in some places. But there were, like I said, some funny parts that I really enjoyed. But yeah, I would agree that.
You make a really good point. Yeah, I mean, there was some really good individual parts of the episode, but yeah, you're right. It just wasn't the sum of its parts.
Yeah, it was a bit less than the sum of its parts. Totally,
a bit less. Yeah, that's the expression. Yeah, for sure. But anyway, we'll talk about each scene as we go along. And Steve, before we do get into our housekeeping and stuff, you got a couple of things that happened Curb related during the week that we should share.
Bit of Curb Your Enthusiasm news. First cab off the rank is that the actor Mike Haggerty sadly passed away on the 8th of May. So a couple of days ago, we're recording on the 10th of May in Australia. He was, of course, in the episode Amco, which was, I believe, a season 1 episode of Curb.
Season 1, yep, that's right.
Yep, and he also played the thrift store owner in Seinfeld, the one that George sells Frank's cabana wear to.
The raincoats.
Oh, sorry, the raincoats, of course.
Yes.
Of course.
No, but the episode is called The Raincoats. Yeah. He plays the the thrift store owner.
Yeah. And he ends up having
cabana crap.
Yeah, he ends up having to burn Frank Costanza's moth-ridden cabana crap out in the back alley, which is very funny.
That's right. And that's an iconic part of the show.
Totally, yeah. And he ends up cancelling the whole Raincoats deal because he doesn't trust Kramer. So, he's involved with Frank, and it's all fallen apart.
Yeah, it's all great. So
he's involved with Morty, isn't he?
Yeah, with Morty, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and he doesn't feel good about it, and he just cancels the whole deal, and they're all out of money and time and stuff. So yeah, great episode. He was also probably mostly well known being in Friends.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but he was in all sorts of shows. Just looking at a little obituary to him now, he was in Community, great show. Brooklyn Nine-Nine, another great show.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the list goes on. He has over 100 credits in his career. So,
good on him.
Yeah, one of those really well-known character actors. He was in Deadwood, ER, Star Trek, Cheers, I Married an Axe Murderer, Wayne's World, The Spy Who Shagged Me, Austin Powers, Speed 2, Inspector Gadget. Yeah, goes on and on and on. So, a sad loss for the acting world. R.I.P. Mike Haggerty.
Rest in peace, Mike.
And he was 67 as well. The second bit of news is that Larry David, of course, was interviewed by Vanity Fair about a week ago on May 3. And in the interview, they cover Curb and his career, and they cover Seinfeld. It's a pretty wide-ranging interview, but he brings up a point that we thought was worthy of including in the news, in this Curb news, is that he kind of joked, but kind of half not joked, that he's surprised he hasn't been cancelled yet. Obviously, cancel culture is a bit of a thing at the moment. Love it or hate it, it's definitely part of culture at the moment. And, Larry, especially Curb Your Enthusiasm, deals with some pretty controversial topics, race and gender and all sorts of things. And he's surprised. And to be honest, I am as well, that no one, there's probably someone out there who thinks he should be cancelled, but it's never really caught on as a thing. I've never seen a movement or a hashtag or anyone prominent saying that he should be cancelled. So he's kind of gotten away with it unscathed, which is surprising. I'm
probably thinking that maybe because Curb, it's a popular show, I feel like it doesn't quite have that kind of, it's not really part of the cultural zeitgeist, pop culture zeitgeist. Curb is still, I wouldn't say it's culty, but it's not as popular as other shows. Yeah. I think if Curb was, say, a network television show or a pretty popular, like a Netflix show or something, it probably maybe more people would take notice. But I think Larry he's got the privilege of flying under the radar for some critics.
That's true.
Yeah.
I guess as well, the show, it's not like the show started dabbling in controversial topics after, say, the last 5 or 10 years where cancel culture became more of a thing. It's always been itself. So, when did it start? 2000 or 2001, which is probably a decade or a decade and a half before cancel culture really became well known and much talked about part of, entertainment and I guess just pop culture in general. So I guess because he was doing his thing before cancel culture was a thing, kind of set him up to be not untouchable, but he was doing what he's doing well before it was potential.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so he existed. Yeah, you're right. He was working even before cancel culture was a thing. So
yeah,
he's got that privilege too.
Yeah, and I think as well because most of the time the Curb, even though it dabbles in controversial topics, most of the time Larry is the one that comes out being the person who's in the wrong. It's not like he's he says and does so many awful things that the joke's usually on him. So I think that probably helps him out a lot as well.
Yeah, and the writing's smart enough to show that it's not necessarily, it's not kind of like mocking the subject at hand. It's kind of mocking more Larry's kind of ignorance and his bigotry towards it, which kind of makes it funny.
Yeah. The joke isn't about, African Americans or queer people. It's about people's ignorance towards those people, or people who have issues with those people. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so it's very it's very not as controversial.
No, that's true. That's true. And they're the two pieces of Curb news this week. If you want to talk to us about Curb, if you've got any Curb news, or if you think we should bring anything up, you can contact us. We've got an email address, curbcastpodcast@gmail.com. We're on all forms of social media as well. Curbcastpod is our handle. You can check out the links in the show notes for those. We are on Patreon, patreon.com/mishmash media. That's MISHMASH media. For as little as $1 US a month, you can support us and help keep the lights on for Curb and our fledgling podcast network, Mishmash Media. And if you don't want to support us financially, you can do so by rating or reviewing us on your podcast app of choice. It really helps us with search results in the algorithm on the podcast, or just tell a friend, tell a family member, tell someone in your life who might like Curb or Seinfeld and who you might think may enjoy it.
Let's do it, mate. Season 6, Episode 4 of Curb, The Lefty Call, aired in the US for the first time on HBO on September 30th, 2007. Questions about Larry's bathroom habits become a concern when Larry gets Richard Lewis's girlfriend Cha-Cha a job at a place across the hall from his office. Meanwhile, an incident involving a waiter and some takeout food threatens Jeff's dog, Oscar. And the only trivia fact I have about this episode, Steve, is Cha-Cha, in the scene where she's in the restaurant eating the fruit bowl, she tries to, motion for Larry to try the cantaloupe. It's kind of reminiscent of when Kramer tries to do that with Jerry with the Mackinac peaches in the episode of Seinfeld, The Doodle. So very, very similar there.
Yeah, there always seems to be someone in Larry's worlds that insists on giving someone else fruit because it's excellent.
Yeah, she really loved the cantaloupe. She's like, you got to try this cantaloupe, Larry.
In Seinfeld as well, Kramer, he rejects cantaloupe because he said it tastes awful. There's an episode, it might be the same episode, where I think he eats George's or Jerry's cantaloupe. And he
takes a bite and he's like, I can't eat this or something.
Yeah, it's got no flavor. Yeah. Something like that.
So he actually hates cantaloupe, whereas Cha-Cha loves it.
Well, it was probably good cantaloupe versus bad cantaloupe, because I think Kramer likes cantaloupe. It's just that cantaloupe wasn't very good, whereas this one
was no good.
Imagine if it was a restaurant, it looked like a pretty nice restaurant. They wouldn't serve bad cantaloupe.
Oh, is that the one where he's banned from the fruit shop?
Might be.
It's like you're banned from the store.
Banned from the store with with Joe, the fruit shop owner.
Joe, that's right. Yeah. It's probably that episode.
I think so.
I can't eat. He tries eating the cantaloupe from another shop, and he's like, I can't eat this.
Yeah. It's something like that. I can't remember. There's Kramer dabbles a lot with fruit, so it all kind of, in my Seinfeld memory, it kind of blends a bit. But yeah, in this episode, good cantaloupe, and Cha-Cha's very keen on it, like you said.
Yes, she loves it. In the first scene of the Lefty Call, Larry heads to the bathroom in his office building as Cha-Cha greets him on the way. She thanks him for getting her a job in his office, so she's a receptionist for a producer named Bert, who we meet later on in the episode. Cha-Cha is making small talk as Larry is trying to go to the bathroom. I was going to say Bert's coming up later. He comes up right now. Bert walks up to Larry and asks if he wants to do lunch today in the restaurant in their building. And Larry says that's fine as he walks off, and Larry goes to the bathroom while Cha-Cha's trying to basically talk his ear off. No pun intended. You'll see him later in the episode. Larry is washing his hands and he walks out of the bathroom. Cha-Cha comments that he was quick in the bathroom, and Larry says that she doesn't need to monitor his bathroom breaks as Cha-Cha asks if they can carpool together. Larry walks off feeling awkward. So Cha-Cha, for those who may not have watched this episode for a little while, Cha-Cha's desk, she's at the reception. It's basically facing the hall, and just to her right, just in the right hand corner, it's the men's bathroom. So I'm guessing this isn't the first time Cha Cha has commented on Larry's bathroom habits. She's probably been doing this all the time.
Yeah, I think she's been doing it since the first day she got the job, because Larry seems very annoyed by it. His annoyance doesn't seem just based on this scene. It seems like a built-up annoyance.
Built-up annoyance, yeah. But I mean, I don't blame him. I mean, I don't want people to know when I'm, I don't want people trying to comment on when I'm going to the bathroom and stuff. I mean, I kind of get Larry's point. I would be a bit weirded out.
Yeah, it's a bit awkward, especially with someone you only really know professionally and is also your friend's girlfriend, and you got them the job. It's I appreciate that she's trying to just make chit chat and be friendly with Larry, and obviously she's a lot less uptight than Larry. I mean, most people are, but yeah, it's a boundary that I don't think most people would be okay with crossing. Just keep the bathroom talk either to nothing or maybe until we're out of the office. Like if we're in a personal situation, maybe even then, maybe not. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. Definitely. I think she's trying to be friendly and nice, but I think she's just a bit too keen and just a bit too tactless.
And it sounds like, I mean, Cha Cha probably wants to be friends with Larry, but I don't think Larry likes her. So she's just he's just kind of tolerating her.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like he, it's hard to say whether he would find her less annoying if she was less annoying. I think a lot of his disdain or disinterest in being friends with her is because she's constantly just nagging, or not nagging him, but constantly just talking to him about anything and everything and asking him questions, especially when he's on his way to the bathroom, which is probably the time when you least want to stop and have a chit chat.
Yeah, you kind of just want to go to the bathroom. Yeah, it's just basically not the right thing to do. When you see someone go to the bathroom, you don't really comment on them. But Richard makes a good point. We'll talk about it when the scene comes up, but Richard makes a good point saying that Cha Cha cares about Larry, and she's probably concerned about Larry going to the bathroom regularly. So it's probably more like, we'll touch on it when the scene comes up. But at first we think that maybe Cha Cha is just trying to make small talk with Larry or whatever, but there could be maybe like some cause of concern on Cha Cha's end.
Yeah, that could be true. When Richard, I mean, we'll talk about it more when that scene comes up, but
yep.
I'm a bit dubious of that motivation. Regardless of her intention, there's a time and a place. If she's genuinely concerned about his health, or she's noticing that he's going to the bathroom a lot more regularly, there is a better way to bring it up privately, not in front of the office, not in front of everyone at the office. And you can do it in a much more thoughtful way.
You can, but yeah, I don't think there's any malice in Cha Cha's workings here. I think
no. She seems genuinely friendly and genuinely concerned, and just like a really extroverted, talkative.
She talks. Yeah, they all talk on the show. She's very talkative. Yeah.
Yeah, very talkative and just loves a chit chat. I did pick up maybe she's also trying a bit too hard to befriend, Larry and various other people in the industry, because she shows a curiosity of being how to be a producer. Maybe she wants to get her foot in the door in entertainment, and maybe she thinks she's probably been told that you have to be really, like you have to hustle. That's
you have to know people as well. And Larry's a big time player in the writing, in LA, especially in the writing field. So yeah,
I mean, that's a common thing people are told to break into, music or TV or whatever entertainment form. You have to hustle and you have to know people, and you really just have to put yourself out there and almost force yourself into people's lives to say, hey, I exist, take notice of me, do me a favor, do me a solid. But again, she can do that without being, a bit of a punisher.
Yeah, I think you make a good point, because she's a receptionist for a producer, so maybe she thinks that like working for a producer might be another foot in the door for her.
Yeah,
that's probably her reasoning.
I don't think she's trying to, like you said, I think there's no malice in her approach or in her in her intent. But I think also there is a bit of an agenda there, slightly.
Okay, yeah, but she kind of wants something out of him.
Yeah, and I think she's also concerned. I think it's both.
But more what's in it for me.
Yeah, I think that's, I couldn't say how much of her whole, how much of this situation is her agenda, whether it's 50-50 or more than not. But I think that's just part of it, part of the mix.
Yeah. But like I said, Richard basically defends her in the scene coming up.
Well, I mean,
later.
he should anyway.
He should, yeah, of course. This is his girlfriend after all. Yeah. Larry and Jeff are in Larry's office, and he complains to Jeff about his bathroom monitor. And Jeff asks why Larry doesn't just go to his house to go to the toilet like Jeff does. And Larry complains about the organic toilet paper that Cheryl buys, and he says he doesn't like it and it's no good for him. The scene cuts to the Davids, the Greens, and Bert and his wife at lunch. He thanks Larry for hiring Cha Cha and that she is a great worker, worker, and Larry jokes about wishing he didn't recommend her, and if Bert wants to fire her, then it's totally fine. Larry comments on Cha-Cha also doing anything else but working whenever he walks past her, and in jest, of course, and they're all laughing as well. Cheryl thanks Barbara, Bert's wife, for coming to lunch, even though that they are responsible for caring for 9 children. And Larry, I don't know if this was like a joke or he was kind of being serious about it. He claims it's very egotistical to have that many kids.
Yeah, I think...
It's almost like he was serious.
Yeah, I think a lot of things, like, Larry takes issue with it, but he also tries to dress it up as a joke. He's trying to have a dig at someone, but raise it in this semi-joking kind of way. But I think it's something that really bugs Larry.
It does. You can tell, and you can even see Barbara and Bert, they don't know how to really react to it, and they kind of deflect to go to talk about something else.
Yeah. It is a bit, I don't know, it's a bit rude to comment on someone, even if you're, anti-child, if you think that having so many children is a problem for whatever reason, a lot of people would, I guess. To comment on someone's personal choice is pretty rough, I think.
You'll just constantly get whacked with a towel, like in a later scene.
Yeah. Yeah.
Larry just gets the shit beaten out of him with the towel.
Yeah, that was unexpected, but very funny.
That was, that's pretty, I'm guessing that was probably improvised. But yeah, good work by the actor there. But anyway, we're talking so far ahead. we better stay present in this scene. Anyway, Bert invites the table, Larry and Jeff, to his father's old-style barbershop, even with the coloured pole as well, when Larry talks to him about it. For a haircut, as the waiter Davide tells everyone about the desserts for the day. Susie asks if the rest of her food can be bagged so she can give it to the dog. Davide states that the rules say that they do not bag human food for animals to eat. Susie argues with him and says that's why they call them doggy bags. That's why they call them goddamn doggy bags. I just love Susie's just, she's not going full on like fuck and, cunt and stuff with this guy. But she's turned it down a couple of notches for Davide.
Yeah, she's, I think because she's more familiar with Larry, she really, when she gets mad at Larry, it's on for young and old.
Yeah.
Whereas, this situation, she's not one ever to bite her tongue completely, but she does have levels of anger, and her levels, maybe low to
very, very annoyed.
Low to medium in this scene.
Yeah. Probably more very, very annoyed rather than angry.
Yeah. And I think as well, she's probably being a bit reserved because she's in front of everyone and it's in a formal setting. She doesn't know this guy. She doesn't want to go full hog. But it's different with Larry because, Larry does worse things to her and to their whole family than
to the whole family. We've seen that over nearly 5 seasons.
A meal taken home. So her frustration, I think, for Susie is appropriate.
It's appropriate. Yeah, it's kind of like, it's more like severe annoyance rather than mild anger. Yeah. And Davide, he's really strict with the rule. He says, no, you can't give any food to the dog. Have you heard of anything like that? Do you know people who are waiters or in hospitality who mention that? Is there even a policy, or is this just an unwritten rule in Curb? In the universe.
I think it's just a made up. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if it's inspired by real life somewhere. A lot of these weird things that happen in Curb usually are by something that happens in the writer's life or Larry's life or whatever. But I'd be very surprised if a restaurant had this particular policy.
Because how do you know? I mean, how do you know where the food's going to go? You're going to get someone to go to their house and
it's kind of like, once you pay for the food, it's like I can do whatever I want with it. I can, I can throw it in the bin as soon as I walk out if I want to.
I can piss on it if I want to.
Exactly. The only thing that
I can throw it somewhere.
The only thing that this reminds me of is I won't say any names or company names specifically, but my partner works in the music industry and she has for about 15 years. And she told me once about how I think a record label made a bunch of t-shirts, like just merch, and they didn't sell much, or they still had a box left over, and they were kind of old and they didn't want to sell them. I just said, I can't remember how it even came up, but I think I asked, do they donate them? And she said, no, they don't want to donate them because if, homeless people or less fortunate people would be seen wearing them just as clothes to keep them warm and dry, that would be seen as devaluing the brand.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so they dispose of them. There is like proper ways to dispose of them. They're recycled, so it's not all bad. But the fact that they chose not to donate them because they didn't want someone who, isn't well-to-do or someone who isn't dressed up nicely wearing a t-shirt of, ABC record label seen as devaluing the brand. So that's the only thing that comes to mind as equivalent.
Yeah. But I don't want to see thousands of people below the poverty line wearing insert record label.
It was probably 50 t-shirts or 100 t-shirts. So
yeah, right. right, okay, but still.
The tangible effect on that record label's brand,
Yeah.
I mean, it's who gives a fuck anyway, but it would be zero. I don't think anyone would see a less fortunate person wearing a t-shirt of whatever record label and go, I'm not going to buy any records from that record label anymore because that person's wearing that t-shirt. It's so shitty.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's, it's obviously not a one-for-one, but obviously that does come into the thinking of brands and stuff sometimes of who will be seen in our stuff or what
species of animal will eat our food.
Yeah.
It must be human or bust.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah. So if it does exist, if this is based on something real, that's pretty shitty.
Yeah, it is. Well, Oscar becomes pretty shitty later on.
That's true.
Eating the food. Larry, the scene ends with Larry interjecting and he says that he'll take the food home to eat. And after some much convincing, Davide isn't convinced that Larry will eat the food. But after some convincing, Davide says that he will bag the food for Larry as he walks off. And Larry, of course, heads to the bathroom. Larry spots Cha-Cha eating just outside the bathroom. Perfect spot. As she's making small talk with Larry again, especially with the fruit. And she tries to encourage Larry to eat some cantaloupe and she doesn't want to. Or he doesn't want to. And she says, so what'd you have for lunch? Larry says, I had chicken. Chicken and fruit go really well together. It's good to have fruit after chicken. And Larry doesn't want a bar of it. She's kind of like Larry in her own way, just making small talk, isn't she?
Yeah, I mean, she's not as awkward as Larry, but she just doesn't know when to stop.
No. She can't read the room.
No. I think she thinks that by being really chatty, that's being really polite. And in most cases it is, it comes across as just being really friendly and interested in, or being shown interest in, which is always a nice thing. But yeah, there's also situations where you've just got to say hello, make a bit of small talk. But if it seems like it's not going anywhere, just back off a bit.
But she has I wouldn't say no filter, but yeah, she doesn't know when to stop.
Yeah, she's just loves a chat.
She does. Anyway, he heads into the bathroom. The scene cuts to Larry outside in the restaurant parking lot. He sneakily hands the bagged food to Jeff as he walks off, and Jeff walks into his car. Richard greets Larry at his office and he asks if him and Cheryl want to go on a double date with he and Cha-Cha. Larry says that he will think about it. Richard asks what's wrong because Larry is acting a bit weirder than usual as Larry explains the Cha-Cha bathroom situation. Richard says that Cha-Cha told him about Larry's bathroom schedule and Larry says it's none of their business. Richard says that Cha-Cha has quote-unquote bowel concern for Larry and cares for him. So that's his reasoning. That's why he thinks that, Cha-Cha actually cares for him. When you mentioned before that maybe Cha-Cha, kind of wants to get in Larry's good books to further her career in entertainment.
Yeah, look, I can't tell. I can't tell whether her bringing up, or making a comment to Larry about his frequency of bathroom use is purely out of concern. I don't know. I mean, I can't think of any other reason she would bring it up because she doesn't.
She's definitely one of the nicer girlfriends of Richard. Her and Benadryl Brownie lady, probably the nicest ones he's had.
Yeah.
Sophia, his first one in the series, not so much.
Yeah, no, she turns out to be a bit unfriendly to Larry.
Yes.
Yeah, look, I can't put my finger on it. I don't buy entirely that it's purely out of concern, but I don't.
Bowel concern.
Yeah, out of bowel concern. But at the same time, there's nothing in her conversations or in her approach that makes me doubt that either. I'm always just a bit dubious.
A bit dubious, yeah. So to Richard, Cha-Cha butter can't melt in her mouth, but to Cha-Cha, there's more that she wants.
Yeah, I think overall, obviously, part of her agenda is, or part of her approach is having trying to get her foot in the door in entertainment. But specifically about the bowel stuff, I can't think of any other reason out of concern, other than concern that she would bring that up. But at the same time, I don't think that that's only out of concern that she brings up the bathroom frequency and the bowel stuff. So, but I don't know what that other part is to you.
Well, when we get to the next scene, when I mentioned what it's about, I do have a theory about Cha-Cha and why she probably monitors Larry's. Yeah, I mean, she probably has several reasons to do it, but I've got another reason as to why she probably monitors Larry's bathroom breaks.
Okay.
As well, it's literally like the next scene. We'll talk about it. Richard and Larry begin arguing. Larry tells Richard to leave. He gets up out of his chair and heads out of the office. And Richard says, "You're not going to the bathroom, are you?" Seriously? When he is actually going to the bathroom.
I have to have this stop and chat with her both before I go and after I go. It's too much.
She means well. By the way, she's told me that you go to the bathroom 10 to 14 times a day. You move your bowels, you piss. Are you all right? She was concerned.
Okay, you see what I'm saying? This is what I'm talking about. This is none of her business. How often I go to the bathroom, what I'm doing in there, how long I'm in there. Talking to you about my personal bathroom habits? That's not good, all right? It's too much. It's too much.
Larry looks down the hall and he sees Cha-Cha, who's appears to be pretty bored, just kind of like, looking, staring at the wall. He goes upstairs to another floor to head to another bathroom. He takes a leak, and as he finishes, he flushes the toilet as the loud flush rings in his ears, and he walks out in a daze holding his right ear. So before we do talk about the the loudness of the toilet, which I don't know if that's even possible. We were talking about theories just before of why Cha-Cha is seems concerned for Larry. I feel like one thing that I noticed, there's like a shot in this scene where you see the side of Cha-Cha's face. It's really close up. But then you see Larry looking from a distance, if you remember that shot. Kind of looks like Cha-Cha's just staring at the wall.
Right.
I think she's probably bored.
Okay.
So maybe as like a game, she kind of counts when Larry goes to the toilet and how long and stuff.
Okay.
And probably to her, because she does have the intentions of, being in the entertainment industry. And also she likes Larry too as a person. I don't know. I feel like a combination of things and the fact that she just like says stuff without keeping it to herself, kind of like what Larry does most of the time. I feel like it's a whole combination of that.
Okay.
Would you say that maybe boredom might play a part in this as well?
Yeah, I think that's perfectly, that's got a lot of potential. I can't think of any reason why boredom wouldn't play a part in it, especially if you said, I didn't catch it, but if you said that she was just staring at the wall, why else would you first of all, even notice, let alone make the effort to record the amount of times that your boss is going to, well, not your boss, but
well, not your boss, but your friend's boss.
Your friend's boss.
Or actually, no, your boss's friend, I should say, your boss's friend.
Yeah, like who would, you have to be bored in the first place to even notice that the frequency is higher than normal. And then you go, oh, hang on, Larry seems to go to the bathroom a lot. Maybe I'll record it just for a bit of fun. Yeah, I think boredom is probably the best theory as to why it even happened in the first place.
Yeah, it's just that camera angle. Like, it just looked like, you think maybe she was like writing something down or something, but it's just like a close up. If you go back and watch the episode, it's like a close up of her face, but it's just like she's just staring blankly, like in front of her.
Yeah,
I don't know, like she's daydreaming or she's doing something. So you mentioned in the scene with Larry and the Greens and Bert and Barbara, Larry was saying kind of like half jokingly, Cha-Cha doesn't actually do anything. Maybe when he was saying that it was too egotistical to have 9 children, maybe he was kind of being half serious as well, but they thought he was a joke. Maybe he actually observes Cha-Cha not doing anything at all whenever he walks past. Maybe he's kind of like telling the truth.
Yeah, look, like I said, Larry ever really jokes about something and it not also being, something that actually bothers him. He tries to disguise the points, the concerns he has. He tries to wrap up in jokes or tries to, not all the time. Sometimes he just blurts them out, but often he does try and wrap them up in a joke. So I think, or, bring them up in a lighthearted way or whatever. So I think, and the fact that he goes on and on about it as well, he doesn't just make one joking comment. He says, she swears a lot.
Yes.
She doesn't do any work and that.
Yes. Maybe he's telling the truth. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. And that would be something that Larry would notice and not have any qualms about bringing up in, to everyone at the table. So that I think that perfectly tracks.
Yeah, it perfectly tracks. So there you go. So there's like 3 reasons why she's concerned about Larry. Well, supposedly concerned about Larry's bowel movements.
Yeah. Look, I mean, I've been in situations where I've been bored shitless at a desk job and, either like doing my job but completely on autopilot or just not doing my job at all and just staring at the screen pretending to be busy. And I probably would have noticed things that ordinarily I would have if I was actually engaged. So I don't think I would have noticed the frequency of my colleagues' bathroom breaks, but where you just sort of start staring in a direction and you notice something and you're like, oh, okay, that's I've never noticed that before. And you only notice because you're bored shitless and you don't want to pay attention to whatever you actually have to do. So it's not unreasonable.
Let's count the number of vents in the ceiling.
Exactly, yeah. It's not unreasonable for her to be bored shitless at what seems to be a pretty boring job.
Yeah.
And notice, notice something that most people wouldn't.
That's what it, yeah, I don't know, it was just that shot that kind of made it for me.
Yeah,
and shot, I had my notes like that basically added more depth to Cha-Cha and what she does during the day.
Yeah, no, I think that's very plausible.
Yeah, for sure. Flushing toilets, ringing the ears. Is this maybe Larry has like an ear condition? Maybe hasn't been diagnosed yet. I mean, have you ever heard of like a loud flush of a toilet and then your ears ring out? I mean, you're familiar with you work. You do work for concerts and stuff, and you probably hear lots of loudness and stuff, and sometimes your ears could probably hurt a little bit. But I don't think a flushing toilet would really hit those high decibels. Would you think?
No. I mean, I'm usually very I protect my ears because I want want to have a long-term career in music. But yeah, and I work at a lot of venues as well, so a lot of different live venues. So I've never, and so therefore I use a lot of different toilets, of varying. Some are pretty gross and some are very nice and everything. And I've never noticed, I can say confidently that there are different volumes of flushing. Some are louder, some are quieter, but nothing that's ever made my ears hurt. So I don't know where this came from. And it wasn't just it was like someone, like he was cowering in pain. Like he was
clutching his right ear.
Yeah, it's like someone came up to him.
And he's like walking out in a daze.
Yeah, it's like someone came up to him and just screamed with
or like punched him in the side of the head or something.
Yeah, or like sometimes have you ever been slapped in the side of the head and it makes your ears ring?
Yeah, that's right. And because your ears, like the inner ear, helps with balance as well. You kind of feel off balance too.
Yeah, you feel a bit off kilter.
Off kilter, yeah.
Yeah, it's like someone has a megaphone and just yelled his name or something directly into his ear, and he's almost in shock, and he's like kind of got knocked sideways a bit. But the volume of the toilet to us as the audience wasn't that loud, so this was unexpected. I was just
I didn't expect that either.
I didn't really get it.
I think they were just trying to find a way to get to the whole right ear subplot going on.
Yeah, sure, and obviously going to the bathroom was a pretty significant plot device so far in the episode, so it makes sense to bounce off that. But yeah, just I don't know. I think that was one of the things that I found. I like when Curb makes a left turn that you don't expect, and like, oh wow, I didn't expect that, but it still kind of makes sense. There's no question mark left. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I was just really like, if they did say a fire alarm or a smoke alarm or an alarm went off for some reason and it was really loud, maybe the speaker was right above the toilet or something. Maybe I think that's more realistic. But yeah, I don't know. It just didn't really make sense, and that's probably why I brought the episode down. Like a point and a half. Yeah, just like that kind of really weird stuff.
It was like they were trying to link Larry's hearing and the toilet stuff, but they just couldn't find a way that made sense. So they just said, oh, well, let's just make it so that this flush was really loud, and it made him go see the doctor, which just, I couldn't, it was just too weird. I
agree. Yeah,
I didn't get it.
Yeah, me either. Very odd writing choice.
Totally.
Larry is at the doctor and he explains that the loud toilet flush and what happened, and he was thrown back from the noise, and he says he has constant pain in his right ear. The doctor, who I read his badge, Dr. Schaefer, asks if several screening questions about Larry's health. He gets to a question and he asks if Larry urinates a lot. He wonders what that has to do with his ear, even though the doctor says that it's standard questioning. Larry refuses to answer as they begin arguing, and you can see Dr. Schaefer, he gets more irritated with Larry's irrational argument, because he says, I don't want to tell you about my bathroom situation, and the Dr. Schaefer says, but I'm a doctor, you can tell me these things, it's totally normal. it's totally fine, but Larry, even a doctor should know about his bathroom habits.
Yeah, and doctors asking about bowel movements and the state of one's stool is pretty, I get that some people might be a bit weird about it because it's usually a private thing and it's not really a common topic of conversation civilly, but in a doctor's office, it's what poo looks like and what your pee looks like and the frequency in which you're pooing and peeing is pretty important. It's so I
kind of get Larry's point though, like what's that got to do with his ear?
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's probably just when they're trying to just make a diagnosis, they probably just ask all the they cover all the bases, like how
I guess that's when doctors ask like how many drinks do you have a week, do you smoke,
look, I've been asked questions by doctors that I can't directly relate to whatever the issue is that I'm there for, but I think they just have to cover all bases because there is sometimes referred pain that I'm not saying that this is referred pain, but there are medical issues that can relate to other medical issues that you wouldn't think of.
Yeah.
If a doctor asked you about that, at first you go, well, what's that got to do with, why I'm here? But then, maybe they know, they understand the link that you don't.
Yeah, maybe it's all like linked somehow.
Yeah. Maybe, I don't know of any situation where having, an ear infection or something like some sort of inner ear issue relates to the frequency or the state of your bowel movements. But, maybe there is some link that we're not aware of. Like you said, I'm the doctor.
Yeah, I'm the doctor. You can tell me these things. It's fine.
Yeah, and I think as well, like it's good for a doctor to be thorough, and
oh yeah, you don't want to miss anything.
No, and it could be, well, we're here talking about your ear, but also maybe we can, there might be something else going on entirely that a question might enlighten us about,
Yeah, well, you convinced me. That's probably better. Larry is once again in the wrong.
Well, I understand his initial, well, what's that got to do with it? I would probably have that initial confusion as well of well, what's this got to do with it? But I wouldn't take it as far as Larry. I wouldn't protest. I would just be a bit like, oh, well, I don't understand what that's got to do with it. But then I'd just get on with it. I'd say, well, yeah, you're the doctor, whatever. But Larry, Larry doubles, triples, quadruples down. I think that
he does. Well, he knows that Cha knows his habits and Richard knows his habits. Maybe even Cheryl knows his habits. He doesn't want too many people knowing about his.
Yeah, and I think he's just probably sick of talking about his his toilet behavior. It's like been such a big part of his life the last few days. He's probably just like, well, the doctor as well. Like, probably
everyone's against me.
Yeah, he probably thinks it's not conspiratorial, but there's like, why all of a sudden is everyone interested in my bowel movements? Why is there such a thing lately? And he's just a bit, I don't know, paranoid or a bit just like what's going on? Like, why is this such a topic of interest?
True. The doctor stops talking about the urine and he asks Larry about his stools as Larry flares up again. Dr. Schaefer decides to move on with the screening and suggests that Larry use his left ear for tasks like being on the phone. Larry says he has trouble, though, taking lefty calls, as in calls in his left ear. And Larry says that he doesn't want to deal with Dr. Schaefer anymore. And a really good point, Stephen, that Dr. Schaefer makes. I really enjoyed this line in the scene. He says you should take care of your ear or whatever, and you can go see another doctor, regarding this issue, because Larry says he doesn't want to see Dr. Schaefer anymore. And Dr. Schaefer says you need to see a therapist about your bathroom issues. Well, how good is that of a line? It's like a nice zinger there from the doctor.
Yeah, a bit of a very passive-aggressive dig. I like it.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, it's just like you need to see a therapist about your bathroom. Because the doctor's probably thinking there's something more underlying with your bathroom issues. It could be mental issues or something.
Yeah, you're very, very uptight and borderline paranoid about talking about something that's pretty routine in a doctor's office. There's obviously something going on there.
Yeah. And I love when Larry says he wants to see another doctor and he goes, is anyone available now?
Yeah.
And then Dr. Schaefer's like, what? No, this isn't McDonald's.
This isn't McDonald's. Yeah.
This isn't McDonald's.
It's another good line.
Yeah, I know. He's trying to be professional, but you can see like underneath he's like he wants Larry to go.
He's showing a slight disdain. He's obviously got a lot of frustration towards Larry, but he's letting it slip a tiny bit, but he's maintaining that professionalism as well. He does well.
He is, yeah. Good on him. Good on you, Dr. Schaefer.
Yeah, no, he walks the line well between being a professional and respecting him as a patient, but also kind of saying like, fuck you and fuck off.
Yeah, in a professional way.
Yeah, exactly.
Larry is walking out of the waiting room as a tough, bald guy swings some homophobic and anti-Semitic slurs towards Larry. Larry looks at him puzzled as he walks out the door. I won't mention, obviously, those words, but homophobic and anti-Semitic.
Yeah, that was another thing that I just came out of nowhere in this episode. It's like, what? There's all of a sudden there's a Nazi or like a white, like a white...
Like a skinhead-looking guy.
Skinhead. Yeah, it's like, where the hell did this guy come from? And the fact that, like, Larry's obviously a bit, he's confused and, like, he looks a bit scared, but he kind of looks at him and just keeps walking like that.
Yeah.
It's like, and then it's over, and then it's like, okay, what's this got to do with anything?
But the payoff is really good at the end.
I realized... it was the last thing I expected. Just him to be, yelled at and abused by a Nazi walking out of the doctor's office. It was just very unexpected.
It was. Larry enters his house as Loretta, Auntie Ray, and Leon complain to Larry about Cheryl's organic toilet paper. Larry agrees with them, even though he defends Cheryl for her environmental choices. He says that he will get soft toilet paper for them, provided that he can use their bathroom, and they all reluctantly agree. Larry says if he's found out, then they're all going down with him. Ray and Loretta stay in the lounge room. He calls Leon over to chat to him, and he explains the situation that happened at the doctor's office with the skinhead. And Leon asks what he did, and Larry says that he slunked out. And he goes, no, you didn't slunk out, you punked out.
Yeah.
And this is probably, this is the thing that cemented my love for Leon. This is his second episode he's been in since we watched Curb, where he's been prominent. Last episode, he wasn't in it too much. Actually, I don't think he was even in it at all in the Memorial Roadside Memorial. No, he wasn't at all. So this is the second prominent episode that he's in. And he goes on a big tirade about Larry getting in, next time that happens to him, to get into that guy's ass.
Yeah.
And he has a full detail about opening up his ass, spray painting Larry with hair on his ass.
Get in that ass, Larry.
Spilling food on his ass. It's just like...
Yeah,
I don't want to repeat what he said because JB Smoove, he does the perfect monologue for it.
Yeah, when he's like, a man calls you an F word, get in that ass, Larry.
Get in that ass, Larry. That's it. And Larry, he feels very inspired by the advice, and he feels very confident. Leon kind of injected him somehow with some confidence and bravado.
Yeah, it's just saying don't take shit, Larry. Just fucking grow a spine and just don't take that shit.
It's just so brilliant the way that Leon
I've never,
it. It's like,
I've never heard.
I loved it.
I've never heard even like euphemistically, because Larry's just saying like, don't take that shit, like defend yourself, stand up for yourself, like be a man, whatever. I've never heard that idea or, like encouragement of that, to do that being described as getting that ass. Like it's just it's such a unique way of saying, stand up for yourself, like don't take that shit.
Yeah, that was that. I don't know. It's just the way he did it.
Yeah.
It's just, oh my God, if you watch that scene again.
Yeah, it's
probably my favorite scene in the episode.
Totally. That's like head and shoulders for me, that scene.
Yeah. Head and shoulders, definitely the best part of this episode. Yeah. Oh man. Just so well done.
Yeah.
So well done. I don't know how Larry didn't catch up laughing on that.
Get him.
If I was opposite JB Smoove and I did a scene with him like that, I'd fucking lose it.
He probably had to do a few takes, I'm sure.
I'm sure they did, yeah. And he probably had his own. I'm guessing he probably improvised it, but yeah, oh my God.
Get in that ass.
He's so good. But yeah, like this is like early Leon, and like, we have our Curb pages and stuff like that where we get fans who, submit their memes and stuff. But we get so much stuff that Leon, says, but I have seen that stuff about getting in people's asses. I have seen that meme before.
Yeah.
With Leon in it. So yeah. So this is like probably the first memeable scene from Leon.
Yeah, I would agree.
It's great. Larry dials a number and he puts the phone near his left ear. Cha-Cha answers the phone and Larry asks if Richard is there. Cha-Cha suggests that they should have dinner with the Davids before the movie, and Larry says, okay, that's fine. Larry asks what Cha-Cha is wearing. So he's just asking, like, as in what Cha-Cha is going to be wearing for the dinner. But it sounds like he's asking, what she's wearing, as like a flirtation quote. And he makes what appears to be sex noises, even though he's straining to take a lefty call. Cha-Cha says she feels uncomfortable and hangs up the phone. So it's like, what are you wearing? As in, what are you wearing to the dinner? And then Cha-Cha's like, what? What'd you say? It's like, what are you wearing?
Yeah.
And that feeds into the Meet the Blacks episode where Larry says in the Newlyweds game that if he could have sex with anyone's girlfriend or wife, it'd be Cha-Cha. So because Cha-Cha already knows that that's what Larry said in the game and thinks, so that it kind of adds to that, which I really like. Nice continuity.
I didn't pick that up actually. I honestly thought it didn't occur to me that Larry. I thought he was actually trying to make her uncomfortable to make her feel how he feels when she brings up his bathroom frequency. I thought he was doing it. Like, I realize now I'm completely wrong.
Oh, you could. Well, that's the way I saw it. I thought because I think because he doesn't like taking the lefty calls and he couldn't quite hear.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. It's like the way I interpreted it doesn't make any sense.
Oh, okay.
Especially like later on in the episode, and with what you said as well, I thought he's like, oh, I'm just gonna spontaneously kind of get a bit of revenge and make her feel uncomfortable and just fuck with her, to make her feel as uncomfortable as she does to me. But that's totally not the case. So
no, that's okay. I mean, that's what I thought at first, because I had to I watched the scene like the first time and I'm like, what are you wearing? Like, why would he ask that? But then I watched the scene again the second time and I'm like, oh, because they're talking about going for dinner.
Yep.
So Larry's probably trying to make small talk with Cha-Cha. Yeah, to kind of say like, what are you going to be wearing, a dress or like a suit or, something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way I saw it. But now your theory sounds reasonably plausible. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm
I think
Larry did that deliberately. I don't know. It was hard to interpret, wasn't it?
No, I think your interpretation's on the money.
But Larry makes those groan noises.
And then she doesn't like it and hangs up.
Yeah, and she's doing like gym. She's like in gym gear. She's wearing like a midriff top or something.
Yeah, like workout gear, like a
workout gear. Yeah. Kind of really adds to it, doesn't it?
Referring to the previous scene, off topic, I've got the full quote of Leon. If you want me to do it about the.
Oh yeah, try it. Yeah, go for it.
Okay, is Leon says to Larry, when a man...
If we get cancelled, then it's your fault.
I'll beep out the words that I'm not going to say. When a man calls you a fucking F word, you're getting that ass, Larry. You know what I mean? You're getting that ass, Larry. What are you talking about? You let a man slide today, you must immediately get inside somebody's ass when that happens to you. You pull the asshole open, step into the asshole, close it all behind you. Then you take a spray can, right? Spray Larry was here. Wash me and all that shit. Fuck this whole asshole up. Get a Snickers bar, paper, throw that on the floor. Fuck his whole asshole up. Then you open up that asshole one more time, step out his ass, then you leave that motherfucking door wide open so he know you've been there.
Oh my God. And then Larry's like, what, you leave it open? He's like, leave that asshole open. It's just the way that he delivers it. It's just,
I just love, then you take a spray can, right? And spray Larry was here.
Larry's here and wash me and all that shit.
Fuck his whole ass up.
Fuck his whole ass.
It's so good. Oh,
well done, mate. That was a nice interpretation.
yeah, nowhere near as much, nowhere near as good as
JB.
JB, but yeah, not too bad, I guess. I mean,
Yeah, no, you did
anyone
right.
could
No,
say
that
that,
was-
and it's hilarious. Just the words are hilarious, let alone the delivery. But his delivery just takes it to like another level.
Absolutely amazing. Yeah, it's so good. Well done, mate.
You just caught me in the middle of a workout.
So I'm calling about the movies.
Yeah, the movies, right. You know what we were talking about? Wouldn't it be great if we could all go to a really nice dinner at one of those fancy schmancy joints?
Okay, I'll tell Cheryl.
Great.
What are you wearing?
What am I wearing right now?
Yeah, what are you wearing?
You're making me uncomfortable, Larry.
Larry and Jeff are at Bert's dad's barbershop as Larry is getting his haircut while Jeff is waiting for his. The dad asks if anything is different about Bert as Larry says he's seen Bert recently. He says to Larry that Barbara had a miscarriage and it's a shame. And Larry says that it isn't shameful. They already have 9 kids. Bert's dad finishes the cut early and Larry says, "Oh, that's it?" And he goes, "That's it." And he begins to smack Larry hard with a towel. As Larry is carrying away, he points to Jeff saying, "You're next to get your haircut." And Jeff says, "I'm good." And he walks out of there with Larry.
Yeah,
It was just totally unexpected. Like, he just beats this shit. Like, Larry just gets his shit beaten out of him with a towel.
I mean, you could tell he was getting a bit annoyed with Larry's comments about the kids and stuff. So it wasn't totally like he was getting more and more pissed off, but to take it to that place of smacking him around was, yeah, out of the blue.
Yeah, out of the blue. But yeah, I get. Like, even though Bert's dad, he's a grandfather, well, to at least 9 children. Who knows if Bert has siblings or not? But yeah, I mean, like, that's still, even if it's your 10th child, that is quite sad if you lose it too.
Oh yeah, I mean,
It's always a traumatic event. I think because Larry, he thinks, "Oh, you already have 9. Who cares if you lose another one?" Like, he just doesn't get it.
yeah, I mean, Larry's, he doesn't want kids, like he said it explicitly. So yeah, it makes sense that he doesn't get it. But just because you've had 9 kids successfully doesn't make your miscarriage. Like, if you've had a miscarriage after 0 kids or 1 kid or after 10 kids, it doesn't make it any less painful for the parents.
Of course, yeah. It's very painful for Bert's dad too.
Yeah, I mean,
as
that's,
you can see.
He's not just losing a 10th grandchild. He's got to see his kids suffer. Like, it's painful on lots of levels.
Yeah, but the comedy in it is just Larry's ignorance. Like, he just doesn't understand.
Yeah,
He thinks
and I mean,
it's quantity over quality.
Totally. Yeah, he's like, well, yeah, he thinks that the more kids you have, the more the pain is diluted because
Yes.
you've already got 9. You've already had 9 kids, successfully. Yeah, which is just fucked up.
Yeah, that's a lot of kids.
Yeah.
That's a lot of children.
Yeah, totally.
I think Bert should get a vasectomy, to be honest.
What's that?
Bert should get a vasectomy. If you've had 9 children, I think you get the snip, wouldn't you?
Well, I guess it depends if you want more.
No, true. All right, dude.
Some people,
Make a whole village, like a small village.
yeah, some people just want lots of kids, and that's fine.
Good luck to them.
More power to them.
Everyone's different.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have that many kids, but if you want to, then yeah, go for it.
Susie yells at Larry and Jeff outside of her house with a bag of Oscar's poop. And she says the food made Oscar sick. She tells Jeff to sort out that waiter who may have poisoned the food, knowing that the dog would eat it. Larry says that is terrible if he did that, and he'll go to the restaurant as he told Davide that he took the food. Susie tells Larry to convince Davide that Larry was sick from the food as Larry walks off, and Susie hands the bag of shit to Jeff. Jeff's like, I don't have any gloves. And Susie just hands the bag to him. He's like, oh, fuck. He's got to dispose this it's like a big plastic bag and it's like half full of like Oscar's turd.
Yeah.
I mean, Oscar's a German Shepherd. He'd probably produce a lot of shit. But
yeah, he'd be.
God damn, that's like human-sized shit.
But I mean, if he was sick, he's probably shitting more than, if something was put in the food, if the food was sabotaged, which I think is kind of what they're implying, then, it makes sense that he's going to be shitting more than normal as well.
True. Yeah, it's probably like a whole half a bag, of like 2 or 3 rounds.
Yeah, a bit of yeah.
Lots of toilet references, bathroom in stuff in this episode, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of even Leon,
like toilet humor.
Yeah, a lot of even Leon's rant is very arsehole centric. So
yeah, about up the ass and stuff. So,
yeah, he's not even talking about poo or bowel movements, but it's still the same area.
Yeah.
So
go up the rectum and spray paint. Larry was here.
Yeah, he sprayed that ass, Larry.
Spray that ass, Larry. Spray that ass. Wash me, and all that shit.
Oh, that's so good.
I know. Larry confronts Davide, the waiter, about the tainted leftovers, and Larry claims that he got sick from the food. Davide asked if it was him or the dog. who got sick. Larry accuses the food of being tampered as he gives one of his trademark stare downs to Davide for about 30 seconds. And then he says he doesn't believe Davide at all. Davide calls over Cha-Cha, who's nearby, and he asks her about Larry's bathroom schedule. And Cha-Cha says he goes twice a day for 2 minutes at a time. And Davide doesn't believe Larry's lie. He says a sick person doesn't go twice a day. So he knows that Larry lied and the dog got the food. So Cha-Cha, as kind of revenge for Larry's, coming on, unintentional coming on to Cha-Cha on the phone, Cha-Cha basically, rats out Larry.
Yeah, and I guess it's the one time that Larry would want confirmation from Cha-Cha that no, he goes to the toilet, because that would have worked in his favor. If she didn't have a reason to get revenge, she would have said, no, he goes to the toilet, 8 times a day or whatever, and that would have worked out in Larry's favor.
Yeah, but you're right. The time that he actually needs her,
yep,
she won't deliver.
Yep. His inability to do a Lefty Call, caused him trouble later on.
It did.
Just on the title of the episode, The Lefty Call, sometimes you read the title of an episode before you watch it and you can kind of get an idea of what it's about. This one I was like, is this like a left-wing person? Like, I had no idea. I just couldn't pick it until obviously it happens. It makes sense. It reminded me of like Kamikaze Bingo. I'm like, I can't even come up with anything about what Kamikaze Bingo means. And then when it happens in the episode, it makes total sense. I just thought of that.
It's quite vague, isn't it? Yeah, like the Lefty Call. Like, I didn't know. Like, I was thinking it probably wouldn't be political because this is like, the early stages of social media before all this left wing, right wing stuff happened.
Yeah.
So I was thinking it's probably not to do with politics, but I couldn't quite figure it out. But, I thought it was going to be like, I knew it was going to be like a slang term for something, but I didn't know what. And Larry confirms it with the phone call.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. There's some episodes in Curb where you look at the title and you're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. You have no idea what it means, but then it makes sense.
It makes sense. Yeah. Larry runs upstairs at his house and he sees the Black family watching a movie in bed together. Larry edges towards the bathroom. He heads over to it and closes the door as the family watch on. So the family are recovering for Larry in case Cheryl catches him. So they're pretending that nothing is wrong. The scene cuts to Larry leaving the bathroom as he's about to walk out, and Cheryl is at the door and he asks what he's doing. And Larry says he fixed the toilet. And Cheryl says, let me have a look at your handiwork and I'll see if you fixed the toilet. She walks in and she grabs a roll of soft toilet paper and gets upset with him not using organic TP as Cheryl goes on a diatribe about, why you should have organic toilet paper and how many millions of virgin trees get cut down and which cause things like the hurricane, like the Black family suffered and stuff. She goes on like a massive tirade regarding climate change and stuff like that.
Yeah.
She really, really gets up there.
Well, she's, it doesn't, I respect her, it's coming from a genuine place, I think, because she does work for I can't remember the name of it, but it's like an environmental nonprofit. So it's obviously something that she believes in.
She does, yeah. And Larry argues with her as well. She's like, I don't want to use this toilet paper. I don't like it.
Yeah.
And Larry yells at the family for throwing him under the bus. So they rat him out at the end.
They kind of both, like, neither the family or him, like, hold up their end of the bargain. They both agree that, we're all in this together. If we get caught out, then we're all going to cop it. But they don't really cop it, and he doesn't. Like, they both kind of
they cancel each other out.
Yeah, basically. They both kind of throw each other under the bus. Like, neither one of them wants to support each other, even though they said they would.
Yeah, well, I was a bit disappointed that we don't see much of the Black family in this episode. I thought that when the Blacks, they come in with their big opening episode, we meet them and then Leon in episode 2. I thought we'd see more of the Blacks at this point, but they're kind of like, I don't know, maybe they become more prominent later on.
Yeah.
But they're really secondary, like minor characters at the moment.
Yeah, I guess so. Like, I mean, it makes sense in the opening episode because it's called Meet the Blacks. Of course, they're going to feature more. And you've got to, like, if they're going to become even secondary main characters, like common secondary characters in the season, it makes sense that they're going to feature more in the first episode. But I guess maybe if you feature them more, maybe it feels a bit forced.
Yes.
Maybe they're just trying to include them so that you're always reminded that they're there. But if they're front and center of all the storylines, it kind of feel a bit, it's still ultimately a show about Larry and his misadventures, and then the Black.
But it'll kind of take away from what the show actually is. The essence of it. Yeah.
I think it makes more sense from a writing standpoint to have them in the background most episodes, and then maybe 2 or 3 episodes have them feature a bit more prominently. If they were up front as primary characters in every episode, it would feel a bit forced, I think.
Yeah, it'd be kind of like, it would be a bit strange.
Totally, yeah, because like I said, the show ultimately is still about Larry and his misadventures, and most of what he does, and the trouble he gets himself into is outside of the house, and the Blacks don't have much to do with his professional life or his life outside of the house. And, they seem to be mostly stuck at home. So, like, anything out in the world occurring with them being involved would seem a bit unrealistic because they tend to, or so far they're spending most of the time inside.
That's a good point. Yeah. Well, I'm sure we will see them more regularly.
Especially, I agree with you that so far it's been a bit underwhelming, I think, because they made such an awesome impact in the first episode. And then Leon in the second episode, it's been a bit like, just
killed it. He killed it in episode 2.
Yeah. It was just like it hyped them up so much, and they've kind of taken a back step for the next, episode 3 and 4. But I'm guessing they'll ramp him up in the last sort of back end of the season.
Richard is in the foyer downstairs and he calls Larry a perv. Hey, pervo. Perv. And Larry says the kids should stop leaving the door unlocked like that. He says that Cha-Cha got fired from her job because of Larry's miscarriage remark. And he says that Bert wants nothing to do with Larry or anyone that he knows. He tells Larry to call Bert to get her job back. Larry says he'll do it on the condition that he use Richard's toilet, which he refuses. He's like, no one uses Richard Lewis's toilet. He's like, you use every toilet in the house? Yeah, I rotate. He rotates toilets he uses in his house. Larry picks up the phone and he puts it on his left ear. Richard says, he goes, I want a righty call. I don't want to left this lefty call. Richard says, put it on your right ear. So Larry gingerly puts the phone near his right ear, and Bert's wife, Barbara, answers the phone and she screams, fuck you, into the phone as Larry's ear begins to hurt again as he clutches his ear. It's just the way that Barbara screamed it. It was like, oh, it was like a banshee.
Yeah, I mean, that's a reason to have your ears hurt, not a toilet flush.
Yeah, that's a good reason to exacerbate the ear, yeah. In the final scene, Leon is driving Larry to the doctor as Larry thanks Leon for dropping him off. Larry says that he'll go upstairs and Leon can just go park the car and meet him up there later. Larry is sitting in the waiting room as he sees a bald man who heads out of the doctor's office and to reception. Larry remembers Leon's advice about getting up in people's asses. He confronts the man and he starts yelling at him. It's revealed to be another bald man, like a skinnier, friendlier looking bald man. The nurse comments that he's not a skinhead. He just came out of chemo.
Oh, Jesus.
Larry is taken aback. He apologizes. The man leaves and calls him an asshole. And he hears Leon confronting the man in the hall as Larry runs to stop Leon from bashing him.
Jesus.
It's like you thought he was, first of all, he got the wrong guy, the wrong bald guy. And second of all, this guy is having like cancer treatment. And Larry just goes right up into his face and swears at him and stuff.
And third of all, he nearly and maybe even actually gets the shit kicked out of him by Leon.
Yeah, Leon starts trying to off screen. Yeah, you can hear Leon start.
Yeah, you can hear like a crash and a tumble and stuff. Like it sounds like he's actually laying into him.
Oh shit. I know. It's like, oh my God. I was thinking we'd probably see like the skinhead in this scene.
Yeah.
And maybe, we'd find out that he's not actually a skinhead, but he's going through cancer treatment and he's just like an idiot or something. I don't know. I thought we'd see him, but the fact it was like a totally like, because the first bald guy looked pretty like a bit more built and, and stuff. Whereas this guy's like a thin, like shorter guy.
Yeah.
Like unimposing.
The other guy looked mean and like physically imposing. Whereas this guy looks like he's going through chemotherapy.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. He's just very like small and he's just thin and it's sad. But yeah, Larry, he's not, oh my God.
Yeah.
He's not a skinhead, the nurse yells. He's going through chemo. I love that line.
Yeah.
Larry's just like, oh, shit. Sorry, asshole.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the episode, the end of the Lefty Call. Stephen, like I said at the start of the episode, it's probably the weakest episode of season 6 for me so far. Yeah, like you mentioned before, lots of good parts, like Leon's ass monologue is, the standout in this episode for sure. Like you said, in your words, head and shoulders above everything else. Some parts, which are really weird, like Larry getting like and hearing like his ear hurting after a loud toilet. I mean, it was just like some, because Curb, what makes Curb funny, it's like grounded in its realism. And, we can kind of relate to certain things and we can kind of see them through Larry's eyes.
Yeah, it's exactly.
Even though Larry has a different way of approaching things.
I always just see it as like exaggerated reality. Like it's exaggerated
reality.
A lot of it is ridiculous, but it's not so far off the reservation that you're like, the fuck? Like where it doesn't enter surreal or unbelievable territory. It's just, it's just amplified funny reality. Whereas the toilet thing was just like, where the fuck did that even come from?
Yeah, I know. That was just odd.
Yeah.
Odd. I give it 3 Larrys out of 5 in that case. So my lowest score this season. What about you?
I'm exactly the same. I think you and I are basically in total agreement as to why we liked it and why we didn't like it. I think the Leon Black monologue in and of itself is 5 out of 5. I think that's just like That's probably a top 5 moment in the whole show for me so far in all 6 seasons or 5.5 seasons.
Yeah.
That's one of the best. But yeah, the episode overall, I don't really have much more to say. I think, yeah, I'm pretty much on the same page as you are.
Nice. And that's the end of another episode of Curbcast. Thank you so much for listening. Really much appreciated. We thank you for your support. And if you can tell your family and friends who love Curb and Seinfeld about us, that would be absolutely amazing. If you do want to reach out with us, to us, we love getting emails and messages from you across all social media platforms. Curbcast Pod is our social media handle on the big social medias, and you can email us as well, curbcastpod@gmail.com. You can review us on any podcast service, ideally a 5-star review. That would really help a lot with the algorithms, and if people search for Curb Your Enthusiasm and we come up in the top 2 or 3, that would really help with exposure. I mean, if you enjoy it, you can help more people find the podcast just like you found us. That would be absolutely incredible. And Stephen, we do have a Patreon page for those who may wish to give financially.
That's right. Patreon.com/mishmashmedia for as little as $1 a month, $1 a month. You can help us keep the lights on.
My name's Ivan.
And I'm Stephen.
And we'll be back for next week's episode, The Freak Book, where we'll be halfway to season 6 already, would you believe? Absolutely incredible. Take care of yourselves and each other, and we'll catch you then. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. This podcast is part of Mishmash Media, an independent podcast network. Follow us on social media at Mishmash Media AU or support us on Patreon. All those links are in the show notes.